Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another Stay in Bed and Let's Chat with the FPI Network. I, Lady Farley, welcome you to this early 10 a.m. Meeting. We just want to give some perspective on some of the current events that are happening in the world. And as you know, it is Love Month. So happy Love Month. Happy Black History Month to you. The shortest month we get the shortest month. Black History Month, the shortest month of the year. But nevertheless, like I said, we wanted to chat with you. We wanted to just discover some of your opinions to let your voices be heard. And I know that as a believer, you know, they say you shouldn't talk about everything, you shouldn't really discuss worldly events. But I am a firm believer that you should never allow anyone to take your voice. God has given you a voice, use it wherever you can. So that's
Exactly.
what this platform is about today. We're going to be hearing your voices and we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about Cat Williams today. I have been fondly calling him the prophet cat because he spoke some God truths. I'm so serious about that. So we're going to be talking about Cat Williams. We're going to be talking about, why not all the time, but how can it usually be that Black women are at odds with each other when we know that once we get together and we connect, we click. It's like Michelle, I feel like she's been my sister my whole life.
Thank you.
Dr. Pointer, we haven't known each other long, but I love her and I feel like I even tease her sometime and call her like, "Oh, you're my friend." I text her. Like how does that happen between us and then other Black women? There's this fine line of like disrespect and them totally opposing you, totally coming against you. How in the world does that happen? I
Can I
never.
answer that? Can I answer that?
Yeah, what we're going to answer 1 minute. 1 minute,
Okay.
sorry. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about. One of the things that I got in the message today, someone's like across the my LinkedIn platform. She was like, as women of God, we don't talk about everything. And I just said, I have a voice and I'm going to use it. And I think that one of the common pitfalls in our faith walk is that we try to stay separate, church and state. We can't really do that. Like we're triune being. We can't really separate each and every aspect of our life. You can't compartmentalize everything. We have to give a voice to all things. I just believe that. I believe that
I agree.
the word says that we ought to judge, not be judgmental, but to judge things, to judge matters. And I just want to um, introduce you ladies to some of the most, I believe, will be some of the most profound voices of our time. And it's we're not we're not we were talking about Beyonce earlier. Like I'm not a part of the Beehive. I'm not Beyonce. I can't really think of any famous speakers because I try my really hardest not to follow trendy um whom we call motivational speakers. you know I try not to join I follow those people. I try not to. The reason why I try not to is because I'm a firm believer that you can't make this well both bitter and sweet. So I just try to stick to the word. I pray, I try to get my leading from the Holy Spirit. Of course, I'm a part of this world. So I watch the news. That's how I saw the Cat William things. But I don't follow people exactly. I just try to follow Jesus.
Mhm.
Just all I'm saying. So, with that being said, you're probably wondering how is the FPI network bringing to the stage, to the platform, topics like this, and especially dealing with spirituality. Like my shirt, it says spiritual commentary, a breakdown of the truth right before your eyes. And I believe that Cat Williams broke down the truth right before our eyes. He literally talked about stuff that I didn't expect him to speak on.
Mhm.
He broke it down. So we are streaming across 5 different platforms right now, and I believe. Michelle, will you be kind to do me a favor?
Yes.
Are you able to go into the FPI network chat and just put the link there for this StreamYard? Someone's asking me for it.
Okay.
It keeps popping up. But before us, we have today, I want to introduce you to a lovely person that I met, a lovely young lady that I met. Well, actually, before I introduce you to her, for those of you who have been messaging me, where's Dr. Shamika? I love her points. Did she write her points down? First of all, I'm your friend first. But so Dr. Shamika, she was with us the last time when we did a breakdown of being women of faith in the marketplace. So um the actual talk that we had was called from the marketplace to the storehouses, because I'm a firm believer, and so is Dr. Shamika, who is she's an entrepreneur, she's an author. We believe that God wants you to be able to take care of yourself, to live in this world, to partake of the marketplace, but don't be don't be eaten up by the marketplace. Like you should have something in reserve, something to steward. And we talked about that. If you missed it, I dropped it on our Facebook page and you can catch the replay there. If you're on LinkedIn, you can catch the replay there as well. I'm going to upload it to YouTube for those of you who have asked. And we am I still here? Sorry.
Your
So
voice.
I went dark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to thank you for that, Michelle. Someone just literally texted me and said that the Facebook page isn't live. So give me a moment, ladies. I'll try and get that up and be right back.
Okay.
But in the meantime, my favorite, um, Pastor Dr. Shamika, would you please speak about yourself and tell us who you are and what you do, how we can follow you?
Good morning, ladies. I don't know if there are any men on here, but good morning. Good morning, everybody. I just hope you're having a great morning. Happy to be on here. This is my first being in the bed doing this. I was like, "Are we literally going to be in the bed?" And she was like, "Yeah." And so I'm new at being in the bed. I'm kind of like scrunched up a bit, but I'm just happy to be on here this morning. Thank you, Lady Farley, for inviting me on here. Um, I'm Dr. Shamika Pointer. I am a pastor of Open Heart International of Atlanta. I also have a counseling service, which is Open Heart Counseling Services, where we do like mental health counseling / Christian counseling. We do all of it together. I'm an author of about 14, 15 books now. I'm working on two at the moment. And I'm originally from Alabama, but been in Georgia for like 9 years now. I have one son, which is 21. His name is Amari. And I'm just happy to be on this platform, just happy to share my thoughts, just happy to, like she said, we all have a voice. Um, and I could just remember even when I was in foster care, not having a voice. So I just thank God for opening up platforms to where I can voice their opinion on, things that's going on in the world.
Well, I'm personally glad to have you. Like I said, and I said we're going to speak about it. When I first met you, like I feel like we instantly connected. And when we thought there was a little bit of miscommunication, we cleared it up right away. Right away. Michelle can tell you that. Like if I message you, like I'll respond to you. I'm expecting a response back. If I don't get that, or if we miscommunicate, I can't, I don't want to create something where someone feels like they're being, this world is so tricky. Like people say, you attacked me, you attacked me. So many things. I didn't want to put anything between us, but we cleared up whatever it was, the miscommunication, and we have become not just friends, but I feel like we're sisters. And I think that of all of the women in my network, some women have never actually met each other face to face, but we have that sisterhood. And it's something that I value. And it's something that I want to always be able to bring to anyone who steps to our platform. I want everyone to feel as if they're welcome, not just that their voice is heard, but that we're family indeed, because I believe it's important. All right. Thank you for updating us. Sorry about that. Oh, thank you again, Dr. Pastor Shamika Pointer. I want to introduce you to, I can never remember the word. Oh my goodness. And she just taught it to you too, Dr. Shamika. But let me introduce you all. And I said that on the last live that we did, that I would bring a fresh perspective, because someone mentioned, like, you ladies are seasoned. Michelle, somebody called me seasoned. Anyway, she was right. But she said you ladies are seasoned.
That's a good thing.
Where I come from, that's a good thing. So I said, you know what? I agree. And then I stumbled upon, out of a group, this beautiful woman. Her name is Tyra Cornelius. And I'll just tell you a little bit about her. So Tyra, she's a Baltimore transplant turned native. Tyra uses her vast array of experience from the military. Yes, thank you for your service, her church, and motherhood to inspire, adapt, and influence positivity in every journey traveled. As the co-owner of Fashionable in Real Life, her heart's passion of edification is shown through reaching and empowering women. She's with good company. We are in good company with her. Thank you, Tyra, for joining us today. She's in California, you all. She woke up extra early to be here.
That's
And I
wonderful.
said to her, she's so beautiful. I said to her, did you wake up like that? Like, please tell me you didn't. Like, just say you went and did something to yourself. But nevertheless, Tyra, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. We're fortunate to have you. Is there something about yourself that you would like to tell us that I haven't mentioned? Outside of, I didn't know you were a mom, but
I am. I have a 10-year-old son. So the preteen years are definitely they are ramping up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I think that pretty much encompasses who I am. I think
Mhm.
it's easier to answer direct questions than to give like a general
Gotcha,
spiel about yourself. Um, yeah.
gotcha. Okay, I if I could ask, I know Asha is on. She's off camera because she has to look perfect. She is perfect in my eyes. But Asha, is there something you would like to say as a millennial? Especially, you the director over the millennial division of the network. Are there a couple of words that you'd like to say?
Good morning, ladies. Everyone watching, if there's any gentlemen, hi.
Good morning.
There aren't any words I want to say because, true to being a millennial, we like to observe, like to sit back, and then we have a lot to say. So I'm really excited for the chat this morning. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm happy that you're here, so I'll get right into it. I wanted to talk about the honorable Prophet Cat Williams. We call him that. People have been getting crazy. Like, how dare you? I'm like, that's the problem with, I believe, Christendom today. We can hear the truth, but if it's not the voice that we want to hear from, if it's not the being that we want to hear from, we can't receive it. That's what, listen, Christ came here. He says, I came for my own, but they didn't receive me. I think that we are so used to labeling people and putting them in a box, that we can't really hear from them when we hear the truth. But he touched on so many things, and one of the things that I found to be very inspiring, very profound, he said that liars are not allowed to rewrite history.
Mm.
He's like, the truth tellers will be the one to tell the story. Liars will not be allowed to rewrite the history. And I thought that, you know, I found it odd that everyone whom he named, they've all come out and said something or another, but no one has called him a liar. No one. You know, they called him all sorts of things. They brought up all the terrible things that has happened in his life. Like, we know that he's been arrested. I think he said 12 times, but he said he's never been convicted, which there is a difference. There is a difference. And I agreed to that. But he said just because he has been arrested, it doesn't mean that, you know, he's like, he's had enough attention. He's not seeking attention. He's just telling the truth. And one of the things that he's telling the truth on is that in this world, to reach certain levels and certain plateaus, you have to do a lot of selling out. And I don't mean good selling out like the way, you know, believers believe in selling out. Like, we believe in selling out, like, I'm sold out for Christ, right? That's what we say all the time. I'm sold out for Jesus. This is a different type of selling out that he's talking about. He's talking about selling your soul for money, selling your soul for fame. And once that's gone, you know, that's it. You're not getting that back. But another point that he makes that I thought was extremely valuable, and I said I would take this with me. I try to anyway. He said that it's not about black or white. And yes, my network, we are a network of Black women. But if you scroll through my history, if you go to our Facebook page, I literally have helped thousands of people of all races, of all nationalities, genders, sex orientation. None of that means anything to me. But I believe that when, you know, we set up our legacies, like, this network is my legacy, I have the right to be who I am and to support the people who look like me. Not that I don't support anyone and everyone, because if you all know me, if you come to me for help, you're going to get help. Point blank and period. But, and nevertheless, it is important for me as a part of my legacy to be able to help and to represent the people whom I know have walked in my shoes, you know, people who understand what I'm talking about, women who know what I mean when I say I was in corporate America for 25 years. I've had battles all along the way. I've had terrible things happen to me. And it's not because I'm a terrible person, it's because of the color of my skin. I have the right to set up my stage and my platform in support of whom I want, but my network is a reflection of who I am, a Black woman. We help Black women, we help Black men all over the world. We have a branch in Uganda, we have a branch in Nigeria. But my point today is that back to Cat Williams, this is not about, what he's doing is not about Black versus white. And I do believe that someone came out and said he's only attacking Black comedians. And I thought about that. I'm like, could it be? And I'll just circle this back to one of the conversations we're having today. Why do Black women always become confrontational with each other? Not always. Like, why there's a great chance that Black women who meet each other will at some point disagree, not befriend each other. Anything can happen, become catty. And I think that the reason he's exposing Black comedians is because we can only talk about the things that affect us the most. That's my opinion. Like, when I was working on Wall Street, there was a woman, she wasn't a woman of color, and she consistently insisted on, like, telling me things like, wow, you speak so well, you know, you, whoa, like, oh, you're so pretty. That, I expect that. But when a Black person or a person of color even, let's be clear, I'm going on record because there's a woman has been following me saying that persons of color are equal to Black people. That is not true. Fight me on it if you want. Persons of color are not the same as Black people. But as a Black woman, if I have another Black woman say to me, "You're so pretty," like, oh, it's so, well, I was pretty back in the days. Let me get a little closer. Guys, I was once pretty. I was a young, beautiful chick. Now I'm just a middle-aged woman. But nevertheless, someone saying that to me, being Black, it hurts, as opposed to someone else of another race saying it to me, or a Black woman saying, or Black man, anyone saying, "You speak rather well." That's more offensive to me than anyone else saying it. And I think that's what Cat Williams is talking about. He's like, listen, these are people that I'm in this game with. I'm in this with them. And this are the things that I've seen. One thing that I really think that we should take away from what he's saying is that although these are the people who are, in the game, with him, walk with him, they're not the culprit or the originators of the offense, if you can read between the lines. So he have other Black people whom he's talking about have done terrible things, but why have they done these things? Who put them up to these things? What is the systemic cause of these Black people acting out? I think that the bottom line and what is underneath the root cause to that is bigger than the fact that he's naming only Black comedians, if you know what I mean. And now I just want to give someone else a chance to say something about that. Did you all see that? Did you all see the Cat Williams interview?
Yes.
Okay. Michelle, you step up first. What did you think about it?
I thought it was eye-opening. And you know what? Honestly speaking, it was painful. You know why it was painful? Because this is the world that we live in. This is what people are doing for money. I mean, listen, I could use a few million right now, but there are certain boundaries that I just know that I cannot cross. I just know it's not going to work. And
yeah,
I think that him stepping up, and you know what, too? He's sang Bernie Mac's praises. He sang his praises.
Yeah.
He's saying, and I always love Bernie Mac, always love Cat Williams. I think the thing about the entertainment industry, it's just a reflection of a whole lot of things. Not just one thing, it's a reflection of the state of humanity, if you want to call it that. There are people, listen, this has been going on for decades. This didn't start with Cat Williams. They were doing all kinds of stuff back when Charlie Chaplin was on TV. I'm certain of it. Yes. Because why? We're human beings. Yeah. And it all falls in line to what you were saying about Black women and about how it's difficult. But you know what? I see that, but then I also see this. So I'm not saying that it's completely balanced, but I'm gonna be honest with you. When I know I have this to come to, I'm not really affected by the negativity because I talk to everybody. Lady Farley will tell you, I talk to everyone. And if they don't want to receive me, guess what? There are 1,000 more, 1,000,000 more. But you know what?
That's right.
I may circle around and come back to you. Because it might not be the right time. We can't always receive things when people think we should.
That's true.
Honestly speaking, they're not ready. But, people want to play on the negativity and say, oh, we're catty, we're this, we're that. And it's a defense mechanism, in my opinion. It's a defense mechanism. Right. Maybe they don't feel they're worthy of having or belonging to a sisterhood. Because, they'll say, oh, I can't be around a bunch of women. It sounds like? It sounds like you're scared. They sound scared. You sound like a punk. Yes, I said it. You're a punk. Because you know what? This is where the truth is at. This is where the truth is at. Since the beginning of time, I wish the Black woman is a phenomenal creature.
Man.
Now, There were times when I wished I was a boy, when I started my cycle, things like that. But we've all gone through those things, you
Yes.
know, first bra, and we will be talking about bras, the first bra, but I knew that the spirituality of being a woman was something that was one of the most amazing things, and being a Black woman, because we bear the burden of the world, if that makes sense to you.
It
We are
does.
always attacked.
Hmm.
We've always been attacked,
Yes.
stereotyped,
Yeah.
abused, you name it. And guess what? Look at this. You can't keep us down. You can't.
Look at us now.
Look at us now. Look at us now. And I always said, I always look to the heavens and say, you know what? Thank you, Lord. Even on the days when things are not going right, because I know that there's a lesson in it, or I've done something that I needed to be shifted to where I need to go through whatever that is that he needs me to go through,
Hmm.
so that I can come out on the other side either better or repeat. I see that's what God does. When we don't get it right, he makes us do it over and over again till we do.
Mhm.
That's about the truth right there.
I mean, isn't that not about the truth? And when you think about it, you think about the experience, because all of my beautiful sisters here are serving. We're serving our communities spiritually and emotionally, and that we are where the healing starts.
Yeah.
It might be 5 of us to 200,000, but that 5 is going to soon make it 10, 20. We just got to be patient. It's hard when we know what we know and nobody wants to listen to us.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's very hard. Lady Farley has been preaching, and you know why she feels like we are sisters? Because I took to her immediately, because I know God led me there. Just like that. It was just like that. We were saying the same things about serving and about the community and how difficult, and you know what? Guess what? Now there's another voice that's saying the same thing, and that gives you incentive. It
Yeah.
inspires you. You feel I'm not alone. So if there's a Lady Farley out there, there's a Shamika out there, right?
That's right. That's so true.
There's a whole network full of women just like us. And Lady Farley, I want to thank you, because I was just having a conversation with someone about you yesterday. And long and short of it, I said, well, we tend to misunderstand. And then when we misunderstand, instead of saying, I don't understand, we attack.
Hmm. That, man.
Someone told me, oh, well, Lady Farley's ignoring me. I've been trying to get her attention. And I said, I don't know what Lady Farley you're talking about. I said, because the lady BK Farley that I know stays in contact with us. She was in the hospital, just had surgery. So she's not hard to get to. It's something you're not doing right. And see, people don't like but if you're coming to me and you're asking me, I'm going to tell you my truth. Now, you might not like it, but you know what? Then you shouldn't have asked me.
Yep.
And I went and I wasn't defending her, because she doesn't need defending. I said, well, you know what? I don't know what to tell you, because I don't know what Lady Farley you're talking about. This one was literally being wheeled into surgery. And she let us all know, listen. And when she does that, we've been trying to get her to sit down and rest. I haven't known her that long, but every couple of days, I let her go a few days, but she's laughing now, but she know. I text her, what are you doing? And sometimes it's an ungodly hour. She's like, oh God, this woman. But it is because of the love I have for her, the love of the sister, the love of what I know she's doing. So that's why I said, you know what? I can't listen. I can't take my hands off of her. No, 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 no. I said, are you resting? And I could kind of like see her face going, Lord.
Well, I really say, are you resting? You asking me if I'm resting? Are you resting?
And see, that's what I'm talking about, because I'm guilty of the same thing I accuse her of. But
Mhm.
somebody's got to tell me about myself,
Mhm.
and she will. What? Why are you up this early? What are you doing? She asked me, what are you doing? What are you doing up this early? She said, but I saw you like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and here it is. Go to bed.
That I can let me say this, I feel like I don't need defending, but because we have so many women that are part of the network globally, like when it's 2
Right.
a.m. here, my sisterhood in Uganda are reaching out to me, but I have, I'm dealing with a family member who's passed away, someone I love very much. And I have said in the group, I'm trying to grieve. So if someone is trying to reach me, they have to remember that we have branch leaders, someone can anyone who can, like, I don't know why they choose to grab your ear to complain, but they're branch leaders that can help them in my absence. And if it's someone who's not a part of the network, listen, I gave my number out. I think I seen Chanel
Mhm.
on this panel. Chanel and I just chatted. She doesn't, I'm not putting her on the spot, but I told her, listen, here's my number and welcome, Chanel. I saw that in the chat, but I
Okay.
said, here's my phone number. If anyone needs me, because I know what it's like to be a Black woman dealing with the world, everything,
Wow.
the world. Like, we have so many, there are times that I could be asleep and I wake up out of my sleep, like, I have to do this, I have to do that. I
Mhm.
understand what it's like to go for that loan, and for no reason you can have all your assets in order, your paperwork in
Mhm.
order, and there's just one thing, there's that catch 22 cutting through that red tape that you can't do. I know what it's like to buy a home, and then you're facing this redlining system. I know what it's like. I know
Mhm.
the complications. I make myself available because if we don't become available to each other, we can feel like we can lose it. Like,
Right. Exactly.
I'm going to lose it.
Exactly. Exactly. But wait, one thing. Um, Ironically, this conversation was had yesterday.
Oh,
My intention was to reach out to you,
mhm.
but I knew we were going to have this. So I said, well, you know what? We'll have this thing, and I'll reach out to her. Now, this is another thing. Oh, that's none of my business. We keep doing that. Yes, it is. If someone comes to me, and what they were saying wasn't disrespectful, it was just their perspective, and I corrected them. But I said, let me talk. I said, I have my every intention of telling you. People will know one thing about me. When you come to me and tell me something, whether it's a complaint or whether it's a compliment, I'm going to go to the person and say, hey, you know what? I was just talking to so and so. Well, why do you do that? Because we don't have enough of it.
Yeah.
Just as
Yeah.
much as you complain, you should go and tell that person, so and so says some wonderful things about you. I put up a post that said there are people right now saying good things about you behind your back. Because we are very, very, very aware somebody's always talking about me.
Mhm.
Somebody said this about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Somebody's lying on me. No, but there's people that are saying good things about you. There are people that are singing your praises. So, and I think it was more, and this is funny. I'm gonna say it was more a business thing.
Hmm.
I, I, it didn't take much to analyze it. They felt that you were ignoring them
Hmm.
because you have a different agenda.
Hmm.
I said, well, the ignoring part, no, I can't. I'm not gonna go along with that.
Hmm.
No, but a different agenda. The thing about it is, maybe you're not clear on what her agenda is.
That that's about
Well,
it.
that's because I haven't talked to her. Well, you know what? If you want to have a relationship with somebody, I learned this from network marketing
Hmm.
about building relationships. It takes about what, ladies, probably 7 touches or something like that.
Yep.
But if somebody on the second touch says, "Get out my backyard or I'll shoot you," then it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you and we've had conversations with people because just like me with the women with the bra replacements, we go back and forth, we go back and forth, we go back and forth. And then I say to them, would you like me to remove you from my system? Oh, no, 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 no. I need to stay here. But so I keep them in the system. A new batch comes in and I circle back around to them. I think that the thing that is messing us up, Lady Follow, you hit it on the head. Misunderstandings. Misunderstandings can kill us. I've seen people get killed over misunderstanding.
True enough. True enough. And Chanel just put in the chat, we have to pray for people who are easily offended. And this is why I'm always shocked when people are offended, because I myself I love people. Love is not easily offended. So, people can be getting crazy. You know, even the story I tell about how I stalked and became good friends with Dr. Shamika. I stalked her.
You
And
stalk Dr. Shamika.
yeah, and then when I thought
Well,
like,
that's what
oh,
we have to do.
I'm like, she's not receiving me. It's time to move on. And I didn't bust out and say anything crazy, but I'm like, you know, it's time for me to move on. And she was like, well, wait, why?
Yeah.
What did I do? And I think that point that Chanel make is very true. We have to pray for people who are easily offended, but we also have to pray that we are not easily, you know, on the defense. You know what
Right.
I mean? So if
Exactly.
they're easily offended, we have to pray not to be on the defense, which is harder to do. Actually, really hard to do. I have to say, it's harder to do. I started out telling you guys, like when I was on Wall Street, you know, I would have people offend me all the time. But when a person of, you know, a black person would do it, it felt
Felt different. It cut
yeah,
deep.
it cuts. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you grew up in Beverly Hills with the silver spoon in your mouth. The world treats us the same. The
Yeah.
world treats us the same. I don't care if, you know, you say, oh, I remember I met this brother. He was like, I'm a Yale graduate. And when I'm like, yeah, well, I went to City College. He was like, oh, ew. But
Mm-hmm.
I say that to say that, you know, one of the reasons I have such an affinity and a love toward helping Black women and men is because I know that no matter where we've been or what we've done, they see us the same.
Exactly.
The world, you know, the world, I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm
The
saying
world.
the
You're right,
world
though.
sees us the same. We have, how many times have you been on the street and there's been two Black men behind you or whatever, and you think like, are they going to do something to me? This is the
Mhm.
way the world, and it's a spiritual attack against Black people. I'm just being real. It is a spiritual attack set up by the enemy. Anytime there's something out there to make you think that you're born um ugly, or you know, you're black, you know, all of that.
Like how
Like,
you said that you're black.
you know, yeah, you're black. Like, because black meaning dirty or evil, or you know, nothing good.
Right. Yeah.
Anytime you are meant to feel that way, that's a spiritual attack. That's not natural.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
not natural at all. That is a spiritual, a demonic attack. Racism is demonic. You
It
can't
is
hate,
very
you can't hate
extremely
people whom you don't know, who have done nothing to you
nothing to you.
because of the color of their skin. That's why I say it is such a demonic attack.
It is.
I take my stand with and choosing to stand with people who look like me, because if I don't,
Who will?
who will? It's just
Somebody's got to do it.
it's just the truth of the matter. If I don't, who will? I want to ask Dr. Shamika her thoughts on, because she's, you know, she's the doctor here. So let's
Yes. Yeah. I'm dying to hear what I want.
let's.
I want to hear
I know you're dying
what
to hear
Queen
from
Cornelius
Dr.
has to say too. I
Shamika.
want to hear what everybody has to say, because this is how we learn.
Yes, yes. So, Dr. Shamika.
Okay. So the first point with Cat Williams, I was kind of like, wow, like I couldn't believe what came out of his mouth, and it was just like I was just sitting there with my mouth wide open, like, because you would never think that he had that inside him, for one thing,
Mm-hmm.
because first of all, he's always joking, he's always, the person that makes you laugh, but for him to be so serious and so outwardly about, the industry and what goes on behind the scenes, it was kind of like I felt like God really, really just made his mouth open up and say what he needed to say, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I felt like he didn't even have control at that moment. I felt like it was just a moment of truth that just had
Yeah.
to be exposed and had to come out, because like I said, he just not that person. He's just not that person to talk like that. Um,
Hmm.
but he was willing. He was willing to. He knew that. I feel like he knew that was a moment, because
Hmm.
everything else was going on around. I felt like at that moment he knew he had to take advantage of it, and I felt
Hmm.
like God really just spoke through him, and gave us insight on what goes on behind the scenes.
Exactly.
There's some very incredible things, like, and if you was closed minded about anything, before you heard that, your mind should be open. Like you should have insight, that he had more to him than on. There's another side that doesn't expose, but know, I think even in the future he'll be coming out more with how he talks and what he feels and the things that nobody else is seeing in the future. So that's my input on Cat Williams. He just really shocked me. And I received everything that he said, because when you hear, just like we hear a fresh voice, it kind of like, it shakes us a little bit. And his voice was so fresh when he was saying what he was saying, but it was also real. And so it kind of just hit home, and it was kind of like, okay, this man know what he talking about. It was that type of thing. And I felt it even in my spirit what he was saying. And so I will be listening more, from him in the future, because I know there's gonna be more. I know there's gonna be more. So that's my intake on Cat Williams. And so my intake on Black this, I have to say this because, and I used to be that Black woman that didn't hang around Black women. Growing up, I was around white people. Like my foster care home, we had white friends. The family had white friends. Where I'm from, it was all white. And so when it came to Black women, I was kind of like, even though I had, in school, I had like a few Black friends, but my best friend in school was white. So just being around Blacks, I kind of felt a little uncomfortable. I know it sounds weird, and I'm Black. I know it sounds weird, but it was just how my upbringing. I was around a lot of white people. And so what I want to say this, when I finally got away from Alabama and I moved here, I've been in Georgia for 9 years. I was kind of uncomfortable. Um, I was kind of uncomfortable because I'm like, it's too many Black people here. Like, I'm used to white people. but but now it's kind of like, now it's the opposite. I'm grateful that I'm around Black people. Now I'm like, what the Black people? Because when I go back home, I actually see the racism. I see the difference, because when you're around it and you live in it, you don't see it. It's like you're blinded. But now that I'm originally, in the part of Georgia that I live in, it's like mostly. But now that I see a lot of more whites where I'm at now. But when I first moved here, I was around a lot of Blacks. So now I'm like so comfortable. I be looking for Black people, like, where y'all at? Where y'all at? I want to say this, like, sometimes not that the woman is like, she doesn't feel comfortable around, but it's just she wasn't brought up. Like, it could have been her upbringing, or who she was around when she grew up. And so I do want to say that part, but then also there's another part to me, when it comes to Black women, because I've been burnt a lot by Black women too. So even in I would say family, not even just the outside, just family, cousins, messing with your men, and you just going behind your back doing all types of things. So I actually was at a point in my life also where I didn't hang around women. It was just women in general. I was like, no, I don't deal with women. I was that woman. And it was because I had been hurt by them, you know, because women can be scandalous. I'm gonna be honest. They can be real scandalous. I mean,
It's
but
real.
yeah, but I had to learn that I had to get out of my way and say, yeah, you've been hurt, you've been burnt, you've been doing this, you grew up like this, da 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 da. There's all those excuses, which is fine. That's what makes us who we are. But I had to learn that when God puts women in your life, then we don't, nobody's perfect. We already know that. But when God connects, there's a spiritual connection. We have to be more mature to understand that it's spiritual more than natural. And so when God wants to do something, when He puts women in our lives, we have to look past faults. We have to look past, the miscommunication and all that stuff, and reach deep. There's this digging deep that you have to dig to be able to get what God wants you to get out of even having a sisterhood, or, being around women. And so that's what I had to learn. Communication. I think communication is like the biggest, and misunderstanding is the same thing. Nobody really wants to communicate because everybody's offensive. They're on offense, they're defensive. They like, no, I've been hurt before. So when you, like, any little thing is a red flag to them. So they're not really healed. There's a healing process that comes also for you to be able to receive sisters, and be able to be around them, but understand that they have flaws and they have issues and everything else. And so that's what that's my intake on the women issue. So that's all I have to say. That's it. Cat Williams, the bomb. Hey, I love what he said. Women, there's this thing where you have grew up maybe in a white environment and you had to learn, and then you became spiritual and God showed you a whole different mindset about a sisterhood or being around women. So that's my intake.
Well, that you brought the clinical voice to what we
Yeah,
were saying.
and we needed
because-
that. We needed that.
Yeah, because you can't really. We all are a combination of our experiences, right? And although you grew up, I think we all had like one of my very good friends to this day is a white woman. I was just talking to her yesterday, and she was making jokes, and she's like, why is it that we always come back to making a joke like, her being white, me being black. And I'm like, because like you said, Dr. Shamika, we are a product of what our
we've
environment, of
experienced.
our
Yeah,
upbringing, of our experiences. Our experiences have shaped us. And I think that is one of the reasons, just like you said, why Black women, we tend to butt heads all the time, because some of the women who we are around, like Cat Williams talking about the other comedians in his circle, these are things that we have seen, things that have been done to us, things that have happened to us. So it shapes who we are and how we think. But as mature women, or as someone messaged me, as a seasoned woman, uh, my experiences are different because I grew up in a time, and I know people hate to say this, hate when I say this, but I grew up in a time when Negroes were Negroes. Like, we Black people were family. You can't understand that. If y'all go watch go watch, what's the name of the movie about Black Wall Street, Rosewood. Like,
Rosewood. Yeah,
I grew up in a time where my neighbors were Hispanic, they were Russians. The Russians, they tormented me every day. They were spitting on me. They were calling me the N-word. And I've shared this before. How I knew I was Black. I went to an all Russian school, and they reenacted slavery with me. I was the slave. They drugged me around the schoolyard. That has shaped everything about my life, of course. I mean, I'm healed and set free, delivered. Somebody just say, lift your hands and say, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus, for healing. Because that is enough to traumatize anyone.
absolutely.
It has
I'm
shaped,
traumatized just hearing that.
right? It has shaped everything about my life. Everything about my life. Everything. But I also know that like my father used to say, some of the worst things that ever happened to us as Black people, like Dr. Shamika pointed out, have been perpetrated by other Black people.
Yeah.
And we can't heal from that. That's why when we meet, it's that I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to shut you down before you hurt and you shut me. Chanel pointed out, we have to be delivered, and you need discernment. You have to have a spiritual eye to be healed from that. But my experiences as a mature woman are different than those who are younger. Like, I would like for Tyra to speak to this aspect of, if I don't know if it's ever happened to you. I imagine that all Black women and young Black women, they see each other like, hey girl, hey, hi. Like, is it like that?
I think it depends. I'm sorry, I was trying to connect all the points. There's so many good things said, and it's just been a lot to take in. It's kind of like drinking from a fire hose. I was gonna go back and give my opinion on Cat Williams as well.
Yeah.
Something to point out, something very important, is that there is a generational gap between Cat Williams and the comedians that he were talking about that are his peers. Cat Williams is a Gen Xer. Steve Harvey and Cedric the Comedian are baby boomers. With that being said, Gen Xers are considered the middle child generation.
Yeah.
So they are the bridge between what they saw with the baby boomers and then going into the millennials, which speaks to a lot of how he approached this conversation, because they are not in the same age bracket. Of course, certain things were said behind the scenes because we're talking about an older generation. Baby boomers span from 1946 to 1964.
Okay.
Gen X spans from 1965 to 1980. So we're talking about a lot of different things happening in a course of, let's say, 20 to 25 years. A lot of things are
Yeah.
changing in the
Yeah.
media, in mainstream and underground media, in what's happening in everyday life, in the business world, white collar, blue collar. Like, a lot of things are changing from
Absolutely.
1946 to 1980, which would also change the way that people are being raised, the way that people approach different issues. A lot of people were raised under the belief that what happens in this house stays in this house. But because we have stood strong in that belief, that is how people get hurt, that is how people go
Yeah.
unhealed, unhelped, unheard.
Absolutely.
I believe that Kat spoke to a lot of things that other people have also spoke to, but didn't have his platform. These are not new things that we've heard about. Yes, comedians steal each other's jokes. Yes, people do shady deals. Like, none of these things were new things,
Right.
but it's
None.
about the optics of it, because it looks like here's this little person going against giants. If we look at them in the comedian world, we got little Cat Williams going against Steve Harvey, the mogul. But if we looking at it at bare bones, these are three comedians. If you ask me who's the funniest, I'm gonna say Cat Williams.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
Absolutely.
It's not even a competition if we're talking about comedy. And the things he talked about were not unfounded. Almost everything that he said in that aspect was true, and there are receipts to back up what he said. Were there fallacies in
Absolutely.
there? 100% he's a comedian. They stretch the truth. That is literally their job. So if you took everything he said literally, you missed the point.
Mhm.
You missed the point. There were so many good gems, him talking about his childhood, him talking about him being a father, him talking about what he does for Melba Moore. Like, there were so many good things to look at in this interview.
Exactly.
But of course, we go to the controversy.
The negative.
We go to the negative, but it was also positive to see him be unafraid in calling out people that needed to be called out. People assume
Absolutely.
that when
I
they
love her.
reach a certain level of status or a certain stature, that they are untouchable, and that is simply untrue.
Right.
And because things have gone so long without being addressed, now it looks like, oh, well, you just want to attack them. Another person that has been in that same vein is Monique. Monique has went up against Tyler Perry. Monique has went up against Oprah Winfrey on her own, because
On her
people
own.
don't want to attack the mogul, because then you're the person they set on fire. It doesn't
Right.
matter that they've also destroyed other people's careers, but because she
Right.
was bold enough to stand on her own and say, hey, I know y'all don't want to say anything because you don't want to mess up your checks, you don't want to mess up your contracts, but I can't continue to let this happen. I don't
Right.
care if that means I don't get another deal. I'll find money to make on my own. I know that God will cover and keep me, but these things have to
Absolutely.
keep
Yes.
being
I
addressed.
love Monique.
Same thing that's been happened with Taraji P. Henson was recently in the news for the reimagining of The Color Purple and speaking about the pay differences that she's been experiencing.
Yes. I
And
love her too.
Monique coming out to co-sign and cover Taraji and being like, yes, I know I said this before. And she could have been bitter. Monique could have been upset and been like, well, I've been saying this for years and nobody was listening to me.
Right.
That's not the point.
No.
The point is not about how long you've been saying. The point is that it's being heard and that people are receiving it now. Because for Taraji to come out and say that she's been in the business 20 plus years
Yeah.
and being paid a fraction of what other people are being paid is absolutely ridiculous. And yes, Oprah isn't the person that signs the checks because she was the producer in the movie, not necessarily the manager of the deal. I believe she could have used her influence
Absolutely.
more.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
I believe that there are no ethical billionaires. There are no
Mhm.
ethical millionaires. In order to get to that status, there are definitely some deals under the table that have been made. There's no way to be ethical in what you are doing, to have that much money, and to not have put your hand in some dirt. That's my belief.
Gotten your hands
Yeah.
dirty. That's right.
I believe every person that has reached the 2%, the 1%, all their hands are dirty in some way or another. And it could be our favorite people, but all of their hands are dirty in some way, or
Yes.
they know
Absolutely.
how the dirt got there and they're unwilling to say it because then they would be on fire as well.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I I think that it's
Mhm.
important to listen to the message. I know that people become discouraged that they don't see the seed they planted growing. But I know the Bible says one planteth, one watereth, and one remains for the harvest. Is that the correct scripture, Pastor Shamika?
Yeah, yeah. The last one is one, and God gives the increase.
And God gives the increase. I'm sorry. But some people
Yeah.
assume that, well, I planted this seed, so why is it not growing in my time period? Maybe it wasn't for it to grow during your time period. Your job was to plant it, somebody else's job was to water it, and then God will produce the harvest. So we have to be patient in his process. Um, like I said, there's a generational difference, and the way that things are viewed and handled is different. The generations before me, I jokingly call myself a genlineal because I was born in the beginning of 97. Millennials end in 96. Gen Z starts in 97. Gen Z also spans to 2012.
Okay.
Absolutely not. That is a large span, and there are a lot of differences between somebody born in 97 and somebody born in 2012. That's a lot of difference. So, you could just school me in with the millennials. Okay. You could just slide me right on in with them. I refuse to be a Gen Zer. I don't care. We view things differently. We've seen what bad leadership looks like. We've seen what secrets look like. We've seen all those things. Even, what is the movie? Is it Soul Food? With
Not
oh my goodness.
the old one with
I believe it's
Vanessa
I believe it's
Williams.
Soul Food. It's Vanessa Williams.
Yeah.
Is Nia Long in that movie?
Yes.
Yep.
Nia
Yeah. Movie.
Long and Vivica So in that movie, that shows how secrets get handled in Black families. Like, hey, well, we knew that this thing was happening, and I'm going to keep it to protect myself. And I know a lot of people was like, oh, Terry was wrong. Terry did what she could to protect herself. And I feel like if more people were raised to protect themselves, we wouldn't have as many problems that we have now. We wouldn't have to unlearn as much as we've had to unlearn if families were built like families.
Mm-hmm.
True enough.
Families in white communities versus families in Black communities are two totally separate things.
Totally different.
They are raised to protect and cover each other. We are not raised that way.
Mhm.
That,
I know that a lot of times we are under the belief that when you're 18, you got to get up out of this house. But everybody is not prepared for that. Everybody has not been given
Right.
the same foundation for that. Everybody has not been taught the same to
Mhm.
do that. I'm in the military, but the military is not my first job. I have been working since I was 17. So this was not my first experience having a job. There are my coworkers, though, that this is their first time having a job because they haven't had to have a job, because their family structure is different. Even if we look into Asian culture and European culture, they live with their families until they're married, because that's what the culture is of, hey, we are going to cover and keep you until you are fully realized and fully prepared to make this step into adulthood on your own, so that you don't go out there prematurely and then have to come back to
Mhm.
gather yourself up and then go out there a second time.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're as well equipped as we would like to say we are. And that shows in the way that we handle things. I think emotional immaturity definitely peaks its head in a lot of our interactions. That is why we are immature. That is why we are offended easily. That is why we are easily angered, because we're still processing things from an older age frame. Like, we're physically in age, but our mind is in a different age because we haven't went back to deal with those things.
That
Normally, if you're offended, it's like, I won't say offense is an imagination, because that's not true. You can actually be offended, but also it could be a projection of what you have going on in your head.
Mhm.
You can receive somebody totally wrong because you have your own perceptions about them. Like, you can feel a way about somebody passing you up in a conversation, but they may not have known that you wanted to speak. They may not have known that you were waiting for an opportunity if you didn't say that. We can't approach everything from the mindset of, well, people owe me this. You owe me an opportunity. You owe me the chance to hear my voice. Nobody owes us that. Can we make space for ourselves? Absolutely. But we
Absolutely.
can't approach things from that that standpoint and then be mad when we don't get what we want when we never said what we wanted. If you don't express your needs, how can anybody meet them?
I'm
This
going
is
to
so
have to.
amazing. This
Yeah,
is
I'm like, I'm going to have to, Miss Tyra. What you have said is
a
paramount.
mouthful.
It is paramount because, like we discovered that earlier. Dr. Shamika said it. We are product of our experiences, and I come from a family where, of course, you keep the in-house stuff in-house,
In-house, yeah.
and
You better.
we carry that around. You said such. Well, you were dropping gems. I do know that when we meet each other, we have these, like I said, when I met Dr. Shamika, I myself had my own issues, so I presented those to her. Our offenses are truly a product of who we are. That is the truth. And one of the things I will say that when I heard you say this, Tyra, you said, we don't talk about the things that we need healing from. We don't address it. We don't, nobody, you're not a mind reader and you don't owe me anything. But I continually, this is the whole purpose of this network. I teach on financial literacy because financial literacy is the language of this world. It's not
Yes.
about if you're white, if you're black, if you're male or female, if you're heterosexual or asexual. It's none of that. Your religion, it's none of that. The language of this world are your finances.
Exactly.
So I spend, and Michelle can attest to you, we have a woman in our network. Her name is Carmen. She teaches financial literacy across this globe. And it's the hardest thing to teach to our people because of our realities, our existence. It's true in the in an Asian community or the Hasidic community. I'm breaking chains here. My daughter is on this call. I'm going to live with her when it's time. But nevertheless, I say this to say that we are taught to just get what you can and fight for it tooth and nail. That's why Cat Williams is having this issue. He's saying, listen, people are willing to die for this share of the money. They don't want to break bread. They don't want to give off their money.
Right.
One of the things I thought, thanks to something Tyra said, is Vivica Fox. She did someone was interviewing
A clip,
her. Saying,
interviewing her. I saw that as well.
Do you stand with your sister Taraji? She was like, listen, her money game may be weak, but mine's is all right. I have nothing to say. I understand that because if she speaks out, there is that chance that she could be nailed with Taraji. He's like, listen, I got to pay my bills. I'm like, things can't be all that great for her. She's doing a car commercial.
But you know what? I'm sorry. Let me interject.
Mm-hmm.
This is one thing that came. Vivica Fox, I love her. But she is not on the same level as Taraji. Only because of the work. So, and listen, I don't have a car. I don't drive. I don't have nothing against Car Shield. But if she's satisfied with that kind of money, it's okay. So we want to think that you have to be a billionaire to be satisfied. That's not true. And Tyra, I just looked at your profile. You went to Morgan State University. I went to Morgan State University. God is sending a message. I sent you a friend request. We need to talk. Anyway.
This is what the network is about.
This is what the network is about. This is what we're supposed to be doing. I just learned, I'm 65 years old, and I just learned a whole lot. How old are you?
I'm 27.
Tyra. How old?
I'm 27.
See that? But you know what? Don't get me wrong. I don't care how old she is. She speaks with wisdom. That's another thing too. We think we can't learn from younger people. Well, she made another valid point about where we are in the generation. But when I grew up, my parents didn't kick me out at 18. They gave me an ultimatum. You either have to, if you want to stay here, you can stay here. But you have to be in school. You have to be working towards something. because they knew that once you start being independent, working or going to school or having to go, then you're going to say, you know what, hey, I'll see y'all later, thanks. But you're right. Black people don't give it. Yeah, you're getting out of here when you're 18. I can't wait till you get 18. What do they know at 18? Why are you shoving them off into the world at 18? But what they do let them do is come in their house and have babies. What sense
Your
does that
brain is
make?
not fully developed until you're 25, first of all.
Listen,
Your
I'm
brain is
65.
not
I don't
fully
think my
developed.
brain is fully developed yet.
Your brain is not fully developed until you are 25, or I believe it's either your brain or your prefrontal cortex. One of them is
Okay.
not fully developed until you're 25 years old. So to kick people out at 18, people whose brains
It's
are not
cruel.
even fully realized,
It's
they're not going to
cruel.
make good
It's
decisions,
cruel.
and then they're going to end up back there because they're like, oh, well, I went out. I just had a conversation with a financial specialist at work about how student loans are completely predatory because a regular
Oh,
bank would
yes.
not give an 18-year-old $30,000 for anything.
But not
Student loans,
5.
it's like, hey, absolutely, you can have it. Like,
Mhm.
it just,
Yeah. The interest is going to, they'll never pay it off. Thank God for
Absolutely.
Obama.
like, it
That's
just
how I
won't
got
work.
mine paid off. That's how I got mine paid off. Do you believe that? I went to Morgan State University 40 years ago, and not until Obama came into office was I able to clear that debt.
Because
Ma'am,
it's predatory. It's meant to keep you in a cycle. I was going to go back to what you said, Lady Farley, about Vivica Fox. While I do understand protecting yourself in a business aspect, I think in the way that she did it, it was very sharp,
mhm.
and she could have protected herself and still covered Taraji.
Exactly.
I
There you
think there
go.
was a way to be in the middle, and I think because so many people have been, especially because her and Taraji have worked together before.
I
Right.
thought they were friends.
They work together. Well, I don't know their personal relationship. We see the business aspect of people being together doesn't always mean that they have good
Right.
relationships.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's not true.
I
That's not true either. But
I know that they were on Empire together, that
Right.
Vivica played one of her sisters on Empire.
right, yes.
And I'm
But
not sure if they've done other projects together, but to speak to your point as well, Michelle, that they are not in the same caliber of movies. Now, granted, they may have the same length of career,
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
don't believe the caliber of movies they've both been in. Now, yes, people argue, okay, Vivica was in Kill Bill. Yes, but also a lot of the movies that Vivica has been in have been catered to the Black community. It's been like the BET or the Soul Bounce movies. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
a lot of those movies, if I were to name 10 of those to my white coworkers, they've never seen Kingdom Come. They've never seen Soul Plane. Like there's movies that they've never seen because they wouldn't have seen them. Versus
Right.
if you say Taraji's catalog, people have seen The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Mhm.
People have
Yes,
seen
that's one of my favorites.
oh my gosh, what is the movie? The first movie that she was in? Not the first movie, but the
She was in Baby Boy.
she was in Baby Boy. That's not the one I'm thinking of with Terrence Howard. What is
Wait,
the
let me
name of
think.
the movie?
Not
Oh,
Hustle and
he
Flow.
was a pimp. Yeah, yeah.
Hustle
Hustle
and
and
Flow.
Flow.
A lot of
Yeah.
people have seen Hustle and Flow. I was playing the
Yeah,
song in my head and I couldn't think of the movie. Hustle and Flow. If you name her catalog versus
Right.
Vivica's catalog, they have the same amount of years in the game, I would say, but not the same kind of work.
Right,
And I
exactly.
understand trying to protect your band, but like I said, she definitely could have covered Taraji and protected herself in the same way. I
Right.
saw another interview with people. Who was it? It was Eva Marcille. She was the season 3 winner of America's Next Top Model, and she was on an interview with another member of that season, that another finalist from that season, saying that, yes, Vivica said, my money is good, I don't have no problems, but also she is a main character on a show written by Tyler Perry. People are saying things
Right.
in the realm that they can say them. We see what happened with Monique in terms of Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels and Oprah Winfrey. You can
Right.
only say so much
Right.
without it being
Without getting none
boomerang
on
back
you.
to you. Mm-hmm.
Right. But I know me. And I stand with Monique. I stand with her because I feel like people and women like her give the rest of us power. Because you know what? Okay, we saw what happened to her. So you got to say to yourself, can I go like 10 years without, but she's never been irrelevant. Don't forget, she's never been irrelevant. Never
Right.
has she been irrelevant.
Hold
Because
that thought for 1 minute, Michelle. Sorry, because Dr. Pointer has a client. She's a real doctor, you guys. So
Oh
she's
yes,
real.
no, and like I said,
So, but no,
we need a real doctor.
I want to say thank you, Dr. Pointer. Dr. Pointer is a part of the FPI network. She's in Georgia. And if you follow the network, you can reach out to her directly. This
I
isn't
will
the
indeed.
last time you can hear from her, guys. So just stay tuned. Dr. Pointer, thank you for your time. We're going to
Thank you,
catch
Dr.
up.
Pointer.
Yeah,
You're
she's
welcome.
headed out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all
I
got
love
gonna-
you, Shamika.
Love you. Y'all have a good day.
Yeah,
You
I'm gonna
too.
send you a friend request right now too.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Yeah,
looking
'cause
forward to
she's not
speaking
in,
with you.
she's not in the chat. She took herself out.
Oh, okay. So let me explain that before I go to my appointment. Okay. So so I don't like a lot of like I explained to Lady Farley, I don't like a lot of back and forthness, and it's just not that chat. It's just any chat. Like I'm in the my fellowship chat, they do the same thing. It's me. It's not you guys. It's just me. It's just nerve wracking. So a lot of back and forthness and just the chat popping up a text here. It's just I got a little PTSD, okay? So y'all just gotta understand. It's not personal. It's just me, okay? I don't like it. It just irritates me. It's just something like, oh my God, I can't do this. So it's just me. So I'm actually explaining my little imperfection, okay? I don't like chats, okay? So
Listen,
it's not that
Michelle
personal,
gets
I
it.
promise.
Just yesterday, I put in the chat, like, this chat is reserved for directives only, not for, everyone talk about, oh, my boob hurt. I woke up, my knee hurt. This chat is not for that. So we get you. I have a direct line to you. If the ladies want, they can, if they need your phone number, they can just message you on Facebook and get it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. You have a good day.
Have a good day.
All
Stay
right,
safe.
bye-bye. I will. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
I
Bye.
want to I want to, if anyone,
Mm-mm.
I see Chanel's still here and Asha. Now remember, we're streaming across different platforms, so just keep that in mind, ladies. Like, it's not interactive. My Facebook shut down. I couldn't get it to go. I saw it was live for a couple minutes, but I did see someone commented on LinkedIn saying amen. Tyra, when you were talking, all I see is amen. But nevertheless, my point is, I want you all to be able to leave us with the final thought. That includes, Asha, Chanel, if you like, before we just begin to wrap up, because I don't want to take up all of your morning. This is the thing I'm talking about with Black women. When we get together, it is as natural as cozy slippers and being in bed. Like, we can
You
talk,
are so right.
we can share, we share, and it just feels like it's something we know, it's familiar, it feels like home, is what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
So if Chanel
Absolutely.
or Asha, would either of you like to say anything?
Hi. Yes, I'm sorry. I was in the process of walking my dog. Um, but no, I feel very thankful and blessed to have been a part of this sisterhood and conversation. I'm at a place in my life where God is moving so heavy, and I know for sure no things are coincidence. So even when you pinged me yesterday, I felt like the spirit in it, and although I was in the midst of meetings and stuff, I was like, I need to make this call. And hearing the conversation, like you said, it was so effortless, and it felt so, it was just yummy and delicious. You guys touched on so many things, and there were so many jewels that were dropped. And I just think that, what's known right now is that in all of this season that we're in right now is a season that we have to stay on our post in prayer. Um, whether you're interceding or just really covered, because there's a shift and God is repositioning those that are in the back and putting them in the front. And, you just want to keep that oil and grace and mantle in place. And anyone that has offended you, even the leaders, pray for them, pray for them, because I know anything that's happening in the natural happened in the spiritual first.
That's right.
And if we know you know how the enemy attacks you. So imagine if you have a bigger platform, how they're getting attacked. You get me?
Exactly.
So it's just understanding that very thing, and just again staying on your post, because that's how we stay together. And I'm looking
Absolutely.
forward to connecting more with you ladies.
Yes. Give me
And
that
thank you
coat.
so much for inviting me. It was a blessing.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being a blessing to us with your
Thank you very
voice.
much.
We will stay in
It was a
touch.
pleasure.
Yes.
If you don't know any of the other women here, I'll go on Facebook and just put their profiles up so that you can, if you'd like to reach out to them, you can do so. But I want to wrap us up by saying, you know, this network, we are a full service network, which means that we deal with everything from your finances down to your spiritual wellness and your soul wellness. And a lot of people can't get with that. That's okay. I'm about preaching and teaching, but I'm also about learning and growing. There has to be a balance. I some of the women, I've lost a lot of women in my network last year because they were saying why we talk about God, like why are we talking about God. I believe that we have to address some of the issues, especially the ones that Dr. Shamika pointed out. Some people can't move forward in business because their souls and their spirits are trapped. They can't
Mhm.
move and grow because they're in a place being held hostage by an enemy that you can't see. Your enemy is not necessarily that bank that won't give you the loan. It's not necessarily that brother or sister that you're arguing with. It's not necessarily that woman or that person that has offended you. We have to move forward when we get our soul. When you know who you are down to your soul, there's nothing that can hold you back. Nothing. That's how I'm able to have a network in Uganda, in Nigeria, in the UK, across the whole United States, because I know who I am and I can't be held hostage, and I won't be held hostage. But as I go up, I want to take as many sisters with me as I can. That's the beginning and the end of it all. I am Lady Farley. You have heard from some amazing women here. You'll be able to catch some of these women this month for Black History Month. We have authors forums. We're talking to amazing authors. If you could spread the word, we have a storefront. This is our third store, Black owned store. And what we're doing is, if you know anyone Black that has an African American, let me not say Black, any African American who would like to see their products or their books in stores, reach out to me, because these are the people who we want to share the spotlight with. You'll be able to find Tyra Cornelius she's on Facebook. So if you friend request her, if you heard her today, she's also on LinkedIn. This is streaming wherever you're streaming. Her name is Tyra Cornelius. You'll be able to find her. Michelle, the Boob Fairy, will help you get your girls together. Trust me.
Get them together. That's right.
Did I tell you I woke up one morning, my right one was behind my back? But that's another story. That's another story. So
You and I are going to talk. You and I have to talk.
reach out to Michelle. She can help you on so many levels. She is the founder of Awesome Family Travels. Can you take
Yes.
a minute and tell us about Awesome Family
Yes. Awesome
Travels?
Families Travel I'm an autism travel professional. I'm a parent advocate for autistic families and caregivers. And Awesome Families is an organization that provides coordinated travel for people with special needs and their families. Now, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a special need, but families are awesome in the sense of what families should be, not what they always are be. Family is not necessarily blood. And so Awesome Families was born out of that concept that vacationing together gives us a foundation of camaraderie,
Mhm.
of confidence. It builds confidence. It does a whole lot for us. And so starting that with people with special needs, because I am an advocate, I found that the changes in myself and in my son, I said I have to share this. So that's how Awesome Families was born.
Thank you for sharing that with us. We're going to follow you because you have a trip coming up. Is it
Yes.
2025 or
Yes,
24?
to St. Lucia. I'm going to make sure that everyone knows about that
Okay.
too. I'm going to, yeah, to
So
St. Lucia.
also, I'd like, you all heard the amazing voice of our times, Miss Tyra Cornelius. She's going to tell us about her business and how you can reach out to her.
Okay.
So I'm the co-owner of a lifestyle brand, and it's called Fashionable in Real Life. You can find us on Instagram at FIRL Shop. On Facebook, it is Fashionable in Real Life. It's a clothing brand that I started with my older sister, and not blood sister, but heart sister. Started with my older sister, and we just want to be able to reach women. I'm so sorry. We just wanted to be able to reach women at all price points, at all fashion points of knowledge. You don't have to be the biggest fashionista, but you can find something that makes you feel beautiful, that's
Okay. Yes.
affordable. We have plenty of things on our sites. We also have plus size fashions available on our site. So please do not feel like we only cater to standard sizes. We also cater to plus sizes. And we're just here to bring fashion to every woman. So like I said, you can follow, like Lady Farley said, you can find me on every social media platform at Tyra Cornelius, or it will be at Miss Tyra, MISSTYRRA. And my business profiles are normally linked to my personal profile.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Well, Tyra, on that note, this network, we have a magazine. We feature Black voices across the spectrum, every aspect, genre, creatives, non-creatives, preachers, teachers, moms, the whole gamut. But just this last issue, we featured a woman. I'm going to connect you to her. Her name is Lisa Walton, and she's a stylist. She's having a fashion show. We'll talk about it. If you fly out, we'll take care of the place to stay for you, but we'll talk about it. I'll connect you with her. And also Asha, who's on this call, she is looking for the voices of creatives, because once again, there's nothing that we can't do that everyone doesn't try to bite or steal, So she's she's creating a safe space for creatives, fashion, all of it across the artists, painters, whatever. And to be featured, she's going to do an editorial spread in the magazine for the spring. And so I would like for you and her to stay in touch. So I'll find a way to.
Absolutely. I have modeled in my past. I'd love to model again. I'm a multi-hyphenate creator, singer, dancer,
Ooh.
model, actress. So that's definitely an avenue.
Wonderful.
I would love to.
Nice.
Hi, Angel.
I was just going to say, I see my sister Angel.
That's Sister Angel. Listen, I gotta hop off because I have an 11:30.
Okay, Angel.
I'll see you guys later. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Michelle.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Angel, before we go, we have a couple minutes. I want you to tell us about Brown Kiss Mamas.
Bronze Kiss Mamas.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't ready. Bronze Kiss Mamas is a sisterhood for all women of color, and it's kind of being revamped right now. We've been in business for about 7 years, and it's just a community of women that come together to support each other. It's about 1,200 of us so far, all over the United States, and I think we have one woman in India right now who's part of the team. And we're just growing, we're maturing and changing. As you know, most businesses do a little change here and there, so we're revamping right now.
Okay, can I just say this, because we did a conversation on like Black women and how we get along. Can you just tell everyone that how much you love me and we've never met face to face?
I adore Abike. I adore her, and we've never met face to face, but you would never know it.
Right, you
would
never know it. Even yesterday, I've never met her face to face, but I was telling her, when you bring in the kids over, like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, we just can't drive up there. That's like a 5-hour drive. But anyway, I say that to say, proof again that we are more connected than we are willing to accept and to say. I don't know, Chanel, you're on Facebook. Can we find you on Facebook?
Yes, I'm on Facebook. I'll be honest, I don't really use it that much. It's kind of syndicated to whatever I post on Instagram.
Okay.
But yes, you can find me both, Chanel,
Okay.
Tipan. Yes.
Okay. All right. We're gonna wrap up, ladies. I love you. Thank you for your time here today. Thank you for staying in bed and chatting with us. I'm Lady Farley. I'm the CEO of the FPI Network, and we're here for you. God bless.
That's
God bless you.